Welcome back to Untold Stories TV, where every story has a secret and every secret has a price. Today's story starts with a wedding, but trust me, it doesn't end like one. Are you ready? Let's begin.
Wedding Day. Everyone loves a wedding. The flowers, the vows, the dancing, the tears of joy. But what if the most beautiful day of your life was hiding the darkest secret you never saw coming? This is the story of Claire Merritt, a woman who walked down the aisle with a smile on her face and a feeling in her chest she couldn't quite explain, a feeling that something was terribly wrong. Claire was 32 years old when she met Daniel Howe at a coffee shop in Portland, Oregon. He was charming, polite, the kind of man who remembered your coffee order after the first date and showed up with flowers for no reason on a Tuesday afternoon. Their first date lasted 6 hours. They talked about everything: childhood memories, favorite books, dreams they hadn't told anyone else. By the end of the night, Claire felt something she hadn't felt in years. She felt safe. Within 3 months, they were inseparable. Within 8 months, Daniel proposed on a rooftop overlooking the city, with string lights above them, and her favorite song playing from a small Bluetooth speaker he'd hidden behind a flower pot. It was perfect. Everything was perfect. Her best friend, Maya, called it the most romantic thing she had ever witnessed in real life. Her mother cried for 20 minutes. Claire said yes before he even finished the question. But somewhere between the engagement and the wedding, Claire started noticing small things. Things she told herself didn't matter. The first thing was a name. One evening, they were lying on the couch watching a movie, and Daniel's phone lit up on the coffee table. Claire wasn't snooping. She wasn't that kind of person. But the screen was right there, and she saw the name before she could look away. Rachel. She asked him about it casually, the way you ask about something when you're pretending it doesn't bother you. "Oh, that's my cousin," Daniel said, not even looking up from the TV. "She's been going through some stuff lately. I check in on her." Claire nodded. She believed him. The second thing was a box. In the back of Daniel's closet, behind his winter coats, there was a small wooden box with a lock on it. Claire discovered it by accident while looking for an umbrella one rainy afternoon. She asked about it that night. "Just old stuff," Daniel said. "Mementos from before. Nothing important." He smiled and kissed her on the forehead and made her a cup of tea. And somehow, the conversation ended before it really started. The third thing was harder to explain. It was a look. One Sunday morning, they were at a farmer's market, laughing about something. She can't even remember what. And Daniel stopped mid-laugh, his eyes fixed on something across the crowd. His face went completely still. Not scared, not angry, just blank. Like someone had turned a switch off behind his eyes. It lasted only 2 or 3 seconds. Then he was laughing again, squeezing her hand, pointing at a stand selling homemade jams. Claire turned to see what he had been looking at, but there was nothing there. Just strangers. Just a Saturday morning crowd. She told herself it was nothing. She was good at telling herself things were nothing. The wedding was set for a Saturday in late September. The venue was a restored farmhouse 40 miles outside Portland. White drapes, candles everywhere, a string quartet that played during dinner, 112 guests, including both families, old college friends, and Daniel's colleagues from the architecture firm where he worked. Claire woke up that morning at 6:15. She lay in the hotel room and stared at the ceiling. That feeling was back, the one in her chest she couldn't name. She called her best friend Maya. "I feel weird," Claire said. "Everyone feels weird on their wedding day," Maya told her. It's normal. It means it matters. No, it's not nerves, Claire said. It's something else. It's like my body is trying to tell me something my brain hasn't figured out yet. Maya was quiet for a moment. Do you love him? She asked. Claire didn't hesitate. Yes. Do you trust him? Claire hesitated, just for a second. Yes, she said. She got dressed. She did her makeup. She put on the white dress that had taken 4 months and 3 fittings to get exactly right. She looked at herself in the mirror. She looked like a bride. She walked down the aisle. It was during the cocktail hour, between the ceremony and the dinner, that a woman Claire had never seen before approached her. She was maybe 45 years old, dark hair pulled back, a gray dress that didn't quite fit the occasion. She looked like someone who had dressed in a hurry, or someone who hadn't planned to be there at all. She smiled at Claire, but the smile didn't reach her eyes. Congratulations, the woman said. Thank you, Claire replied, glancing around for Maya or her mother. The woman reached into her bag and pulled out a small white envelope. No name on the front, no writing at all. I think you should read this, the woman said softly. Before the night is over. Not after, before. Claire took the envelope. When she looked up, the woman was already walking away, weaving through the crowd toward the exit. Claire stood there holding the envelope for a long moment. Then she put it in her bouquet and smiled at the next guest who came to congratulate her. She read the letter in the bathroom 20 minutes before dinner was served. She locked the stall door. She sat on the closed lid of the toilet in her wedding dress. She opened the envelope. There were 2 things inside. The first was a photograph. It showed Daniel standing in front of a house she didn't recognize. He was wearing a suit. He was smiling. And next to him, also smiling, in a white dress, was a woman who was not Claire. The second was a single handwritten note. 12 words. His real name is not Daniel Howe. Ask him about Seattle. Claire read it 3 times. Then she folded it carefully, put it back in the envelope, put the envelope in her bouquet, unlocked the stall door, washed her hands, and looked at herself in the mirror for a long time. She sat through dinner. She smiled. She laughed at the toasts. She danced the first dance with her husband. That word felt strange now. Husband. And she let him hold her close and whisper in her ear that she was the most beautiful person he had ever seen. She said nothing. She waited. When the dancing started and the guests began moving around, she found a quiet moment. She pulled Daniel away from a conversation with his colleague and led him to a small side porch off the main hall, where paper lanterns swayed gently in the night breeze. I want to ask you something, she said. He smiled. Anything. She held out the photograph. His smile didn't disappear immediately. It faded slowly, like a candle running out of wax. His eyes moved from the photograph to her face, and in that moment, she saw it again. That blankness, that switch being flipped. Where did you get that? He said. It wasn't a question. Who is she? Claire asked. Silence. Daniel, she said. Or whatever your name is. Who is she? He looked out at the paper lanterns for what felt like a very long time. Then he sat down on the porch railing and let out a slow, long breath. And he told her. His name was David Harlan. He had been married before, in Seattle, 4 years ago. A woman named Rachel, the same name Claire had seen on his phone, who was not his cousin, but his ex-wife. The marriage had ended badly. There were details he didn't share, things he said he was ashamed of. He had moved to Portland to start over, He had changed his name legally, David to Daniel, Harlan to Howe, because he wanted to leave everything behind. He said he had fallen in love with Claire honestly. He said nothing about the new life was fake, only the name, only the past. He said he had planned to tell her. He just kept waiting for the right moment. Claire listened to all of it without speaking. When he finished, she looked at the photograph one more time. The woman in the white dress. Rachel, an ex-wife he had hidden for nearly a year. Did she know? Claire asked. About tonight? Daniel looked down. I don't know how she found out. Claire Merritt walked back into her own wedding reception that night. She danced 2 more songs. She cut the cake. She hugged her mother goodnight. And then, standing in the parking lot at midnight, still in her white dress, she made a decision. Whether she stayed or walked away, that part of the story belongs only to her. But here's the question that stays with you long after the music stops. How well do we really know the people we love? How many of us have looked at someone across a candlelit table, handed them our whole heart, and never once thought to ask, is there anything you haven't told me? A wedding is supposed to be the start of an honest life together, but sometimes it's the moment the real story begins. If this story stayed with you, subscribe to Untold Stories TV. A new story drops every week, the kind they never tell you about. And that's the story of Claire Merritt, a woman who walked into her wedding day with a heart full of love and walked out with a truth she never asked for. If this story made you think, drop a comment below. Would you stay or walk away? Subscribe to Untold Stories TV for a new story every week. I'll see you in the next one.